Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
He is, as always. And Rusty, we are at Season 4, Episode 19, Hank's Bad Hair Day.
I want to say we have 3 episodes,
Yeah,
20, 21, and 22, I think is what's left.
Well, and what I'm excited about is, and I wrote this in big letters at the bottom, Propaniacs next week.
Oh, yeah, Propaniacs next week. Yeah, tune in for that one.
Very
That was
big
going to be a good one.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite episodes. Propaniac.
I think
we had to get the audio file for that.
Mason has said he's going to give us some acapella next week.
Oh, he is?
So, yeah,
Okay, all right.
it's
Get him
great.
get him to play guitar or something.
I'm having a bad hair day, so I'm wearing this hat. I don't know that I don't know that I wear a lot of hats.
I haven't had a bad
online.
hair day in years.
That's good. Yeah, just wait. It comes with age. All right, so we start this sucker no bell, no yell. I would say we'll probably get a bell and a yell in about 2-3 episodes.
2-3 episodes,
Yeah.
potentially.
So we start off in the Hill family kitchen with Peggy. She's getting ready to cut Bobby's hair. She's got him in a booster seat, sitting on top of one of those wooden chairs. She's got a cloth around his neck, ready to give him a chili bowl cut. And Hank walks in. But Peggy is talking to Bobby, and she's like, who's getting chocolate milk if he sits still? Bobby's like, I'm getting chocolate milk if I sit still. Oh, man, you can tell.
Oh, he loves that chocolate milk.
They've done this since he was like 3. You know, now here he is 12. Bobby's like swinging his legs on the chair like a little kid. It's kind of gross, honestly. Hank says, hey, Bobby, how'd you like to come to the barber shop with me tomorrow? Peggy says, I don't think it's up to you, Hank, or you, Bobby. I'm assuming she's saying that it's up to her.
Yeah, she's not ready to give up the hair cutting, but
whatever.
I'm
Peggy.
glad that my mom spared me her personal haircuts.
I had a couple of home haircuts, but
the only
many.
home haircuts we had, I had 2 home haircuts, and that was because we caught lice from some kids at school.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And my dad was like, "Y'all are boys."
That's your bad hair day.
Yeah, well, that was my bad hair day. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But he just buzzed us whenever that happened. That happened once in like first or second grade.
Do that and slap some tar on your head.
Yeah, there you go.
Hank says, Peggy, you put in 12 great years cutting Bobby's hair, and he's been very good about it. But Bobby's a big boy now, and I think he can handle seeing those copies of Esquire Jack leaves laying around.
Yeah, it's very
Esquire.
Yeah, it's a scandalous magazine.
Yeah, Bobby's like, I get to go to Jack. He's very excited about this. Hank says, Bobby, you start going to him now. Maybe in a couple of years you can call him Jack.
Before we get to Jack, I just want to go ahead and get his voice actor stuff out of the way.
Brian Doyle Murray,
which is the older brother, which was the reason why we have a Bill Murray at all, like as far as known. They all started together. We had discussed this before in our David Letterman endeavors. They started in Sac City. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody from Chicago there. Brian Doyle Murray, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy who runs the Caddy Shack in Caddyshack.
Also, shout out to Rupert G at the Hello Deli. They're done. They closed shop. They had the going away party or whatever for that recently.
Good for them. Good for them. I'm sure that his business was amazing after all of that. You know, I can't even imagine.
Couldn't imagine how it changed his life.
Big yeah. So Bobby jumps down from the chair and he's looking through a magazine and he looks over at Peggy and is like, you can help me pick out my new haircut, Mom. We'll talk about it over chocolate milk. Peggy's like, chocolate milk? Oh, no, you're too much of a big boy for chocolate milk. And she just pours it out right in the sink, right in front of him. Man,
that's a waste of the milk, though. That's what's like he could have drank it. She don't even care.
No, she didn't care. All right, so now we're over at Jack's Barbershop. Again, Brian Doyle Murray, being Jack. I wrote that down here. I just always know his voice anytime I hear it.
Yeah. Now, his voice is real easy. Yeah.
He's a fantastic.
If you know who he is,
he's a great character actor. You know, he's so good. Hank walks in and he says, "Hey, Jack," and Jack says, "So what'll it be, the Roger Staubach or the rookie Roger Staubach?" He's pointing to the two pictures on the wall. Hank says, "Well, Strickland Propane Christmas cards photos coming up, and it's important that my customers recognize me." Like, what, are they not going to recognize you with a different haircut? He says, "So I think I'll just have the same haircut I've gotten every 2 weeks for the past 20 years. And he kind of looks at Jack. Jack's like, "All right, is that the Staubach or the rookie Staubach?" He goes, "The Staubach." He goes, "I can do that." He says, I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have a stapler. And then everybody in the place kind of stops reading their magazine and looks over at Jack like they know something's going on.
Yeah, if he's talking about a stapler around haircuts, like, what? I would have had to get up.
Jack says, I mean the buzz thing that takes the hair off. One of the customer gets up and goes, Jack, I'll take a rain check. And he just leaves. So things are going bad. He says, Jack says to him, "No problem. Give my best to Marcy." And then as soon as the guy walks out, he's just like, sticks his tongue out at him, making fun of him. After the haircut, he hands Hank the mirror, and he goes, "Well, how's it look, Hank?" He goes, "Fine. Everything's fine." And Jack looks over at Bobby, and he goes, "Hop on up, little bunny." Little bunny. Bobby's like, "It's okay. I remembered I'm growing my hair out to a modified Troy Aikman." Hank says, "Oh, yeah, I forgot. Come on, let's go, Bobby." Jack, feeling like there's something weird going on, says, "Not so fast. You sat nice and still. Here you go," and hands him a pink sucker. He goes, "I'll save it for later. How about," he goes, "Start licking." And he has to like force lick the lollipop.
That's a little weird.
It is very weird, yeah. Now we're in Hank's driveway.
Speaking of weird old men, when I was in RAs back in school, I was like six or seven.
Did you say RAs?
Yeah, Royal Ambassadors.
Like a church?
Yeah. That was called Royal Ambassadors for men.
No, I remember
for men. Yeah, so
for men or for children?
It was for children. Sorry, whatever it is, for boys, men.
If you got RAs for men, you got
not RAs for men.
Yeah.
It was
can't do that
boys.
these days.
No, you can't. So there was like an older guy that would kind of help wrangle all the kids up and stuff. He was like an older gentleman. He was, probably.
You can't do that these
no,
days.
You can't. He's probably like in his 60s or 70s or whatever.
Gotcha.
But he kind of just assisted the youth minister and keeping us all kind of like tamed and everything.
There's always that guy.
Yeah, but like if you got out of hand, like he did it one time, and then we didn't really see him after that. But he had held me down and chewed on my ear with no teeth in with his gum. He like bit my ear. And like
Rusty, you have a lawsuit.
Well, that's what I thought that was at that time. But but I mean, he did it in front of everybody, as like a gross punishment, like your grandpa would do to you. It'd be something like your grandpa would do to you, but it was like some strange man,
No. That's. I think you need to find somebody who can get you to regress.
That was crazy. Yeah.
So Hank is looking at himself in the truck mirror. Like I said, his truck's in the driveway with the hood up, and he's got the other guys over there. And Dale walks over and goes, "Here's a picture of you with normal hair mowing your lawn 3 months ago, and here is a download of you at the post office minutes ago." And then you can see over in the corner, there's a guy with a big fake beard on. He goes, "See the guy in the beard pointing and laughing at your head? That's me." He's just following him around, taking pictures. Hank says, "Well, no one else is laughing." Bill walks up behind Hank. He's still in his army uniform because I guess he just got off. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Says, "Hey, Hank, what'd you do to your hair?" Hank says, "Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it?" He goes, "Oh my, yes." He feathered in the back where he usually tapers. Oh my God, that is the one thing about my haircut. Like if I ever when I go get my haircut, I hate getting my haircut.
Yeah, I hate getting haircuts too.
I just don't like it because I don't like sitting there. I don't like making small talk. I don't know.
I hate them so much that I haven't done it in years.
That oil changes. Getting new tires, things like that.
I hate car maintenance, period. I just hate maintaining cars.
But anyway, I was going to say, instead, they always ask me, you want it straight across or you want it tapered in the back? I said, I don't care. I don't look at it. I don't give a crap.
What is tapered?
Do what you'd like. It doesn't matter.
You'll think,
and so he goes, oh, my, yes, he feathered in the back where he usually tapers. I find it unsuitable, but it's a way to go. He goes, used to see it more with Claude Akins, Ross Martin, Robert Stack, James MacArthur on third season of 5-0. He's talking about a Hawaii 5-0, like the old school
Hawaii 5-0.
Real Hawaii 5-0, yeah. And Hank says, that's not what I asked for at all. He says, of course, I am a trained Army barber. And then up comes Dale again. Well, this is on a need-to-know basis, but word is that Jack is losing it. Heard he was arrested for running naked with a straight razor and a barber pole. Where the hell did you hear this?
Well, it's kind of funny though that his mind slips in this one because in our Artie files here it says that later on in a later episode in season 8, My Hair Lady, it says that Bill ends up working at a hair salon called Shoddy's when the military doesn't let him cut hair anymore,
right.
And Jack is normal in that episode because Luann goes to work for Jack at Jack's hair deal. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. That's one of the continuity things right here. This is one of their hiccups. They don't have very many of them, but this is one of those ones. It's
he gets better.
Yeah. What did he? There's a cure for Alzheimer's in this world.
That's right. Yeah, and then he ends up dying, right? Don't we have a funeral for Jack at some point? I know we do.
Yeah.
He ends up dying. The spoiler alert, folks. Sorry, I should have said that first.
Yeah.
Bill comes back and says, Hank, I have been very respectful of your relationship with Jack over the years, but if you're ditching him, give me a little time. I believe I can put together over 20,000 references, which, I mean, you know, when you're talking about an Army barber, I mean, he's just shaving head after head after head.
You know what that's called, though? The work of people who give haircuts, and it's called the tonsorial arts.
Tonsorial?
Yeah,
like
the books. The books, when they're strategizing about Hank's haircut, there's some books that he looks at. One of them is called Shaving a Haircut, which everybody knows that's that not. And actually, there's a reference to that earlier I forgot to talk about where Jack's blowing the foam off and it hits the window.
That's in a minute.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet?
Okay,
I thought it already happened. My bad. I got ahead of myself. All right. Yeah, that's it.
It's coming like right now. Or here in a few minutes. Hank says, I'm not leaving Jack. Jack's the only barber I've ever had. He saved me from my father's haircuts. And here's one of my favorite parts. You get a flashback to Cotton cutting Hank's hair, but he has a Nazi helmet on him, and he's like
giving him a chili bowl.
Well, he's cutting big swaths of hair off with a straight razor. He's not even. He doesn't even have scissors. Or he's like, rah!
It's like a chili bowl. Yeah, he gives him the old Nazi chili bowl.
Nazi chili bowl. Cotton says 45 seconds, new record. Hank, as a kid or a teenager, he goes, I think you cut my ear. Cotton says, I think you cry more than a guy I killed out from under that helmet. I mean, it's rough. And so it comes back to normal times, and Hank says, so Jack had a bad day. Maybe somebody smooth talked him out of his pension or something. And Bill says, oh, well, I guess that explains that feathering. Doesn't excuse it, though. Now we're back at Jack's. He's all alone. Like, there is nobody in there. And Jack's just kind of waiting, just kind of with his fingers or whatever, on the back of the seat. Says, have a seat, Hank. My 9, 10, and 11 canceled. Hank says, Jack, this is tough to say. I'm not the kind of person who would ask for any special treatment, and I still consider you a friend, but I'm not completely satisfied with my haircut. Can you imagine how much it takes for Hank to say he's not satisfied with the service that somebody's giving him?
Probably a lot. It has to really be bad service for Hank to even mention a thing about it, I'd imagine.
He goes, I'm gonna have to ask you for a free touch-up. Jack's like, you son of a bitch. I mean, just as soon as he says it, you son of a bitch. Hank says, slow down, Jack. He goes, you tipped me $2. He goes, that tip was a lie. He says, I'm sorry, Hank. It's been a tough few weeks. I'm just lucky everyone was wearing seatbelts. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
But, dear Lord.
Maybe it's kind of like that joke about what was the last thing Grandpa heard before he died? The sound of everybody screaming in the car.
Oh, my God. Yeah, everybody wearing seatbelts. He goes, hop on up, pal. Now take off your shirt. Hank's like, what? He says, oh, you're going back to work, aren't you? At lunchtime haircut, you take off your shirt. So Hank does take off his shirt. He's got the beautiful farmer tan.
Yeah.
He is a lily
very
white,
pale man.
Lily white underneath that. And he starts cutting his hair, but then he picks up the peroxide and starts wetting down Hank's hair with it.
Oh yeah, this is where we get Guy Fieri Hank.
Man, you just know. Yeah.
Peroxide's not good for hair. For those of you that don't know, peroxide bleaches things white.
Yeah.
Which I imagine most of our viewers or listeners and viewers are old enough to know that.
Sure. He swings Hank around in the chair, and then he just like leaves. He runs out the door, knocks a kid off his bike, and rides down the street, just leaving Hank there.
Leaving him by himself, yeah.
So now we're back at Strickland. I'm assuming it's either I guess this is right after the haircut because he said he was going back to work.
Yeah.
What you hear is Enrique saying, Madre de Dios.
Yeah, Madre de Dios.
Joe Jack's like, you said it, honey. Hank says, it's okay, everybody. And then it finally shows him. And Hank has, like, bleached out white hair.
Yeah, he's like turned into Guy Fieri Hank.
It's kind of that yellow tinged white bleach hair, it just
Hank Fieri Hill.
He goes, it's me, Hank Hill, assistant manager. Like they couldn't recognize him again. Continue with their business as if everything were normal. I'll be working with my door closed for obvious reasons. He closes his door. And then from outside the door, almost immediately, you hear Buck, hey, who's got their door closed? What's going on in there? Good God, Hank, you look like that fella killed the other fella. I don't know who that is either, but it's great.
I don't know who that is, but I like that line. Yeah.
Hank says, sir, I don't like to point fingers, but my barber, well, I did ask for a free touch-up, but no, he's out. And Buck says, I still can't pay you for today. Now take the afternoon off and turn your hair back to a boy's color.
Yeah, that's funny.
Can't pay you for the day. I can't pay you for the day. Now we're back at Jack's, and this is what you were talking about. Jack is all by himself again, and he is squirting shaving cream on his head. He's sitting in the chair, just putting shaving cream on his head.
And then blowing it off.
He goes, have a seat, Hank. I'll be with you as soon as I'm done with this gentleman. There is no one there.
Not at all.
He's just like, as soon as I'm done with this guy, and there's nothing in the chair. He gets in the chair, and he starts like miming cutting his hair with his fingers through the shaving cream, which is insane. Hank says, Jack, I couldn't do this over the phone. Jack, we had a great 25 years, but Jack interrupts him and goes, you don't have to say it, Hank. I'm getting out of the business. Can't stand dealing with the jackasses anymore. You were one of the good ones, Hank. But your kid's a jackass.
Yeah.
And Hank leaves, and as he leaves, you can see Jack pick up the hairdryer, and he's blowing the shaving cream, and it's just
and when
all
it hits,
over the windows.
And when it hits the window, it does the
is that
shave
what it does?
and a haircut.
See, I didn't even realize
2
that.
bits.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it either when I watched it. Artie's the one that picked that up.
Oh, good catch.
I'm gonna have
Artie.
to go back and
that's
check
nice.
that.
Yeah,
because I want to hear that.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. Yeah, that's cool. That's a really good little tiny thing that they put in there.
And that could have
really
been,
cool.
and that could have just been the Foley artist doing that. That might have not had nothing to do with the. I'm gonna look at that. I wonder if that's what it was. If it was like the animators splatted it in that pattern, so the Foley artist had to do it, or they just splattered in a random pattern and the Foley artist.
What is that? 7. Bump. Is that 7?
7 counts.
7 splotches you'd need.
I think so. I think 7 or 8.
We're adult males counting how many beats there are in this. Now we're back at the Hill House. It's night.
7, yeah, 7 for sure. 7 for
and
sure.
Hank is going through the yellow pages. There's your flashback to the past. He's got the yellow pages.
The yellow
open
pages.
And he's going down. He says, McMainbury has to have a late night barber shop. Peggy says, Arlen has one, Hank, and it's closer than you think. And she's got the clippers out. She goes, come on, let's go. He goes, Peggy, do you know anything about dyeing hair? She goes, what's to know? I mean,
what's to know?
In Peggy fashion, it's what's to know? Who cares? Let's just do it.
We're just going to figure it out. And
what I'm starting to get alarmed at is how many people just walk into Hank's house through the sliding glass doors.
Oh, yeah,
they just show up and just walk through.
Catch-all,
They don't knock. They don't eat. They just walk in. So in comes Bill. Hello, Hank. I heard about Jack. I'm sorry. He goes, how'd you hear about Jack? He goes, well, it was on TV. You didn't see the high-speed chase? And Hank's just like, oh, no. He just shakes his head. He goes, if there's anything I can help with, and it looks like there is, Hank, I've never cut civilian hair, but I've been looking at your head a long time. Hank says, "Don't do this, Bill. Trust me, it's not easy being my barber." And then Bill, this is probably some of the most dialogue we've heard out of Bill in a very long time.
Not only the most dialogue, but this is some of the most suspect things.
It is
to say to another man that you're not romantically involved with, which is,
right.
I mean, that's all good and glory too.
Yeah.
But like, this is just odd for a friend too. Two friends. Like, oh yeah, you're big, strong, muscly.
Well, he says, it's not easy being my barber. He goes, I know that. You've got those big, thick neck muscles that knot up when you're tense, leaving that deep, deep valley, and then the northern ridge runs almost transverse to the crown. You worry too much about those, and you hit that scar over your left ear. Seems like there's a story there. You never shared it with me, but that's okay. Because you might think I'm a gossip, and I probably am, but how the hell would you know if I'm a bad barber? I mean, he just boom, 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 all over the place.
Yeah, he is. You don't even know where he's at.
And Peggy, of course, being shitty Peggy. He's the same way with me. Oh, okay, Peggy. And Bill looks at her and goes, "You're an amateur, Peggy." Jack was a legend, Hank, but when I come over to my best friend's house and I see this, you're calling me an idiot. And he throws the yellow pages down on the floor. Hank's like, "Oh, I just want my old life back."
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, you tell me one goddamn thing you know about cutting hair, Hank. Huh? What is that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you."
I didn't hear you.
Hank says, "Bill, how's it going to be in the alley if you screw it up?" He goes, "I can do it, Hank. If you don't like it, we'll never discuss it again. You owe me a chance." Hank's like, "Can you dye it back?" That there are 53
I like how proud he is, though. That's the thing. I like when he says this and he's like, "Can you dye it back?" He's like, "Nah, there are 53 officers on that base."
Bill knows his shit. Like this is the one thing that Bill knows he is good at.
But that's the thing. That's what I like about him. He knows his strengths. Mm-hmm. And he's confident in his strengths.
He just doesn't know his weaknesses.
He just doesn't know his weaknesses.
Yeah. He says, "There are 53 officers on that base who aren't wearing their natural hair color. I dare you to pick them out." Hank says,
I like that. I dare you to pick them out.
Hank says, "I need your earliest appointment." He goes, "I got a 5 a.m. and a 5:30, but I can squeeze you in at 6. He goes, "All right then. Okay then." And then he just walks off. So now we've got the night to think about it, right? And so Hank is in bed. He's kind of sleepless, tossing and turning. Bill is up across the street, and he's doing homework. Like he's got a drawing of Hank's head, and he's like, mapping it out.
Mapping
and all
it
this
out
stuff.
and everything, yeah.
It's crazy. Now we're
he's taking it to the next level. I really like. I'm sure there is a science to it and everything when you go to barber college and learn how to actually do it. But to hear it and to see it is funny.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're at Fort Blanda, the Army base where Bill works. Hank comes in wearing one of those deer hunter hats, like with the flaps down on it, so nobody can see his hair. He goes, "Bill." He says, "Hank, I heated some toaster pastries. There's an excellent article about counterfeit truck parts." And Hank just sits down and goes, "Let's just do it." Yeah. Bill is really trying here.
He's trying to do some small talk.
So now you get a montage of him coloring his hair, cutting his hair, all that kind of stuff. And then we fast forward and the haircut is over. He turns Hank around in the chair. He goes, "How's that?" "Well, that's good. That's jack good. Yeah. That's a haircut I wanted for the Strickland Propane Christmas card. You did it, buddy. Book me again in 2 weeks and every 2 weeks for the next 25 years. What do I owe you?" Bill's like, No, Hank, this one's on me. And then he says the most WTF thing in this entire episode. He goes, No, Hank, this one's on me. If I could just keep the hair." Wait, what? What? You want to keep Hank's hair?
That's odd, boy. Man.
Hank doesn't even.
Yeah, he's odd.
Well, Hank doesn't even respond to this. He's like, No. This is a great haircut. I insist. Dude, he just asked to keep your human hair after a haircut.
Ugh.
Bill says, "Geez, Hank, I don't even think I have a cash register." He goes, "Hank Hill always pays his barber. Now, are you my barber or not?" Bill says, "I'll find a way to charge you. I'll fill out all the proper forms and get the ball rolling." Hank says, "Great, and here's a little something for you." He hands Bill some money, and Bill looks at it, and he's just like stunned and happy. I mean, when Bill gets happy, he is extremely happy.
Yeah, you can tell. You see it in his face.
Highs and lows. Now we're at the Hill house in the kitchen. Hank's looking at bills. He's just kind of going through stuff. Bobby's sitting there next to him, cutting out coupons for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what Bobby's looking for in the coupons, but he's got like one of those big sheets, that like comes in the mail still.
Yeah, they still send them in the mail. They used to get them in the Sunday papers, but the rest in peace to the Sunday paper.
Always a Little Caesars coupon.
Always
Little Caesars.
Burger King coupons, always.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of Burger King.
I use the hell out of those.
Well,
that's the thing now. They got the apps. for
yeah,
all these.
sure.
Every restaurant
Sure.
has an app, and
Yeah.
every
So much
restaurant has
cheaper.
not only like a coupon system, but they also have like a deal
Rewards and
of
stuff,
the
yeah.
day and
Deal of the day,
rewards.
rewards. Yeah.
And
McDonald's, honestly, is
McDonald's
the best one.
even had a thing called As Seen As, and what it was is with McDonald's movies that were seen
Oh
in
yeah,
movies.
I do remember that. Like the brown
Yeah.
bag.
And if you ate there during that time and used their app, if you ordered one of those as seen by meals, they gave you a special QR code link to a merch store to get exclusive merch that had to do something with the McDonald's being in whatever the all of
McDonald's
these movies.
is pretty good at that kind of stuff.
Their marketing is
Their
phenomenal.
marketing stuff is amazing.
I actually the other night in Discordia land in this comedy server that I'm in bumped into the voice of New Zealand McDonald's.
Oh,
he does all of the voice work for McDonald's New Zealand.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to get him. See if he wants to do an interview.
You also bumped into somebody else.
Oh yeah,
about a week ago.
Yeah, he's real busy right now. I'm gonna try to get him nailed down. But Mojo Nixon, it was his son. Yeah, his son.
So if you folks don't know who Mojo Nixon is, you need to go look that up. It was Mojo Nixon and Skid Roper to begin with. I remember seeing Mojo Nixon at Stubbs in Austin before they built the concert part.
Yeah.
So you would have to go in the restaurant to watch a concert that was just being put on this little stage in the corner kind of thing. Everybody be dancing in the restaurant or whatever.
It's like world famous now, isn't it, Stubbs?
It was crazy at that point because every time you left a concert, you smelled like smoke.
Yeah.
But I just remember. So I'm going to give you an idea of how old I am. But Mojo Nixon's up on stage. He was opened by a band called the Nixons, which I also liked at the time.
Yeah.
Very stupid stuff. But then Mojo Nixon comes up. He starts his concert, and then Jello Bafria of Dead Kennedys shows up to play with him.
Well, that guy.
And then they put out an album
yeah,
together.
His son that I met or whatever on Discordia land, and he was talking about Jelly or whatever and how he remembers him as a kid in the living room with his dad and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, we're going to get him on. So
that'd be fantastic.
We're definitely going to hopefully get Mojo Nixon on. He said that
get Mojo Nixon on here. Like I said, I'll do the show without my pants.
We got to I think we got to wait for NASCAR because they're in the middle of NASCAR season right now, right? I don't know either, but he said after NASCAR season we'll be able to get his dad because he does XM something for NASCAR. He's got a NASCAR show on Sirius,
Yeah, Mojo was he had a famous song called "Stuffin' Martha's Muffin," and it was it was about having sex with Martha Quinn, who was one of the VJs at the time, on MTV. Okay, so we're at the Hill House. They're in the kitchen. It's Hank looking through the bills, and Bobby's there cutting coupons for some reason. Oh, another offer to subscribe to the New Yorker. I do not wish to subscribe to your publication, he writes on it. And he's going to send that in, too.
Yeah.
He goes, something from the U.S. Army. I hope I'm not drafted. And then he opens it up, and he goes, $900 for a haircut? Damn it, Bill. He gets up and leaves the room, and Bobby's just like, and I'm sitting here cutting coupons. What the?
What happened?
I don't know what.
Do I need to get underneath the desk? Do I need to get underneath? I don't think it's that serious. It's probably some kickoff crap. Is it almost time for kick? It's 5 o'clock.
It may be time for kickoff.
It can't be because the next games don't start till like.
No, their game starts at 7.
Oh, it starts at 7.
It is what? It's 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's
maybe.
Probably some pregame.
Sorry, folks.
Crap.
We heard boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom,
it sounded
boom,
like the mortars were letting off.
Yeah, you talking about the end of the world. All right, so those mortars will take us to our first commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Scared the shit out of me.
Scared us too. I was like, whoa.
All right, guys, we'll take this break, and we'll be right back. All right, and we are back. Thanks for holding with us through those commercials. Nothing has happened outside. We don't believe that the end of the world has happened yet.
Yeah, no, just
it was just a football game.
Just a football game. College football, wild in Texas.
It is
They have
wild.
cannons.
Yeah. Earlier today,
artillery shells.
Texas lost their first game to Oklahoma, which is
that's probably what they're celebrating over there right now.
It was a hell of a game.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a game.
It's probably what Baylor's over there celebrating.
Texas got another year to go. Okay, so we're at Fort Blanda. And we're in one of the officers' offices, The officer's sitting behind the desk. Hank is there discussing this $900 haircut. There's another soldier just sitting over there, like not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And the officer says, I wish this bill were a mistake, Mr. Hill, but that's how much it costs the Army to give someone a haircut. We pay $80,000 for each military-grade barber chair. The French make a chair that costs $110,000. It's a damn good chair, but I ain't paying $110,000 for a barber chair. Hank says, wasting all that money like buying a haircut for Saddam Hussein. I hate Saddam Hussein. I like his haircut, but that's it.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Oh, Lord. The guy says, look, I know the chair's too much at $80,000, but then they give us a B-2 bomber for $1.3 billion. That's where we make it up. And he goes, it's just this blank look between Hank and the soldier, and he goes, well, you try getting a B-2 bomber for $1.3 billion. You can't do it. Hank just like, ugh. He leaves. The other soldier meets him at the door and goes, it is a very nice haircut. That's... I love whenever I love when they do those voices for like military guys. It is a very nice haircut.
Yeah, it is a very nice haircut.
Now we're in the alley with all four of them. Bill says, $900. I'm sorry, Hank. I had no idea I was that valuable. So that's where the Army makes all its money. No, Bill, that's not how that works. I don't think they're paying themselves to cut their own soldiers' hair. But whatever, Bill. Dale says even Bill Clinton only spends $300 on his haircuts, and for that he gets a haircut plus a high colonic administered by Barbara Streisand. I got
a story for you here. So Barbara Streisand was a big known Clinton supporter at that time.
Yeah,
but
I don't think she gave high colonics. So.
Nah, I don't think she gave him high colonic. But the controversy behind the haircut was in 1993. So supposedly, I mean, imagine this is what happened. So President Clinton.
Yeah.
They shut down 2 of LAX's 4 runways. So at this time, they only had 4. It's one of the busiest airports in the world.
This. Yeah, so
and they shut it down so he could get a haircut on the tarmac from Christophe, the Beverly Hills. Christophe. You remember that?
I want to get to a
big
point
Beverly
where
Hills?
I only have one name.
Christophe. Mickey.
That's me. He says, I'm sorry, Hank, I didn't realize that's where I make all the money. He says Bill Clinton gets a high colonic from Barbara Streisand. Bill's like, well, I guess I should have offered. No, Bill, you shouldn't offer to give high colonics to people. Hank says, if I was going to pay $900 for a haircut, it'd have to be an everlasting haircut. Little Willy Wonka inside there. Bill says, Hank, you can't fight the Army without declaring war. Dale says, maybe if you had the Marines on your side. Bill immediately just fires off, yeah, they're better than us.
Yeah, they're better than
From
us.
behind the fence.
The tip of the sword.
From behind the fence, you hear Peggy go, Hank, there's something here. It's from the Army. And Dale just immediately says, incoming, and just runs away like they're sending a freaking missile to his house or something. Peggy says, it's a collection letter. And Hank goes over there. He's looking through it. And he goes, all right, they asked for it. I am going to write my congressman. Okay, Hank.
All right, Hank, calm down.
By the way, on the bill that he gets, it's stamped with a little ghost, and it says, "We don't mean to haunt you." ... And it's got like a little picture of a ghost on it. I love that. Hank goes in. He sits down at the Blueberry Mac in Peggy's office, and then he does one of the things. I'm going to use my phone here, but like imagine this is a mouse. Hank, and I know you folks listening can't hear this, but he picks up the mouse in midair and just starts clicking, like it's a pointer mouse or something. Yeah. Hank does not understand mice.
No, he does not.
So
and that computer again solidifies that the computer is canon now.
Yeah, absolutely, canon. Absolutely. I kept looking for like the Peggies on the wall, the neon.
Yeah.
So he gives up on the computer. And he just on regular notebook paper starts writing out a note. We then transition to later, and the only reason we know this is because we're in the kitchen. Bobby's getting a haircut again, and Hank has the shaggiest hair I've ever seen on him.
Yeah, he has a really
shaggy. And he's reading this letter that he got in the mail. Representative Jim Powell thinks your problem and flag burning are amongst the biggest problems facing America today. That's why Jim Powell has introduced House Resolution 11461. It would ban flag burning and all. He never read it. He goes, I'd go see him in person, but no self-respecting bus company would allow me on them with a hair like this. Self-respecting bus company. Yeah. It's crazy. All right, so now we see a garage sale that's going on in Bill's front yard. Hank drives up. The other 2 guys are over there. Bill says, hey, Hank, I'm going to raise that money for you. Dale holds up an ice crusher, and he goes, "Can you do better on the ice crusher?" Bill says, "900 firm." He goes, and he talking to Hank. He goes, "It only takes one." So he's going to sell one item for $900 to make up everything.
Yeah.
Hank says, "Don't do it, Dale. I'm not paying $900 for that haircut. If I was going to waste $900, I'd get something useful like a compound miter saw." Bill says, "I thought you said I did a good job." He goes, "But what kind of fool would pay $900 for a haircut? Now, Bill, I could really use a trim. We could do it in my garage." Bill's like, "Oh, I'm only allowed to cut hair at the base. The U.S. Army spent $3 million training me. Good
That's
Lord."
a joke.
Hank says, "Forget."
And I really thought the $1.3 billion plane joke wasn't that funny either, because the military generally goes with the lowest bidder anyway. That's who builds things. Is the guy who
I don't know. I've
bids
also
the
heard the
lowest.
$500 hammer. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I've heard of that
so
kind of
I don't
stuff
know.
too. Yeah, I guess it goes both ways.
Hank says, "Forget the Army. It'll take you 10 minutes. I'll vacuum myself." Bill's like, "Sorry, Hank. You got your principles. I got mine. 0.5%. He's like mumbling to himself. Hank's like, "What?" He goes, "That's what you tipped me. $2 on a $900 haircut is less than 0.5%. And he just storms off. Hank's just like, and Dale comes up and says, "You don't need Bill. Boomhauer and I love our girl." And he shows him a little pink card out of his pocket.
Yeah.
Bill is on the treadmill, by the way, and Boomhauer is lifting some very, very small weights over in the corner. Boomhauer says, "Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, man, little old gal taking a mile a minute, man. Like, slow down, man. No moose, no jail shower, and go, man." And Dale says, "With me, it's all about speed. I don't even need to take my hat off." And then he shows him that little pink card.
Yeah.
Hank says, "So that's where you get your hair cut, huh?" Dale's like, "What's wrong with our hair?" Hank says, "I didn't say anything." He goes, Dale says, "Well, she does pimp that conditioner pretty hard." So now we're at the supper table at the Hill House. Hank, Bobby, and Peggy. Hank is trying to eat, and he finds a hair in his food. He's like, "Oh, God, I need a hairnet." Peggy's just like, "Oh, okay, look, Hank, why don't you go ahead and take my 1 o'clock with Ernst tomorrow? Do not be late unless you want the coldest shampoo of your life." Yeah, Ernst.
I guess his parents only could afford
Ernst.
one E.
Yeah, no T's in this
Can
house.
I buy an E?
Next day, we're at the place, and I'm assuming this is where Ernst does his hair cutting.
Yeah.
Hank walks up to it, and there are two like mannequin heads in the window, and they both have barber poles coming out of the top of their heads. So this place is a little different. He opens the door, and you hear like this music just pulsating
House
throughout
music,
the place.
yeah.
He walks back out, kind of looks at the ground, and is like depressed. He doesn't know where else to go, so he goes back in. Next thing we see is the Army has pulled up to Hank's house with like a Humvee. There's a bunch of guys in it, and then there's two officer-looking guys that are up there knocking on Hank's door. As soon as Hank pulls up and gets out, number one, he has bangs at this point. He's got like these bangs
he's got
hanging
bangs
down.
and everything, yeah.
And the second thing is, as soon as he gets out of the truck, you hear from off screen Dale going, "That's him. That's Hank Hill, I think." He just immediately calls him out. The officer turns around and goes, "I haven't been in touch with Congressman Jim Powell's office. I'm here to present you with a whistleblower's award of $3,900 plus this point of light." And he hands him an award, and it looks like a flame. It almost looks like the propane award. He goes, "For me? I didn't even know they kept that going. What's the money for?" "It's 10% of what you save the Army by eliminating government waste. This way." And he looks at the camera. They take a quick picture, and then the other guy goes, "I like the old haircut better." So I'm assuming it was the same guy that told him he liked his haircut. Now, we are back on Fort Blanda base. Bill is cutting some hair of, I'm assuming, like a new private or whatever. And he's having this conversation. "Yeah, I hear they're watching it, wearing it short in Guantanamo this summer. It's the Ricky Martin influence." In comes the captain.
That's terrible.
Bill salutes him, and he goes, "Sir, would the captain like me to throw the lieutenant out of the chair, sir?" And the captain says, "Sergeant, I have bad news. This base has disbanded the barber unit. I think we're inefficient. Petition to reinstate has been filed, but that could take 20 years. I'm sorry. Report for reassignment in the morning." Bill, he's lost all will to live. He runs over and grabs the blue liquid that sterilizes the combs
and
in,
goes to
and he
drink
starts to drink it. And the guy goes, "Don't do it, son." Bill's like, "I got no place else to go." And that takes us to our second commercial break. If you're feeling like drinking blue liquid that you disinfect combs in, please see someone. All right, and we are back for the third of this show. We've done our 2/3, and now we've got Hank with bangs. We got Bill being fired.
Yeah, it's been a tumultuous.
It has been tumultuous
time for two of these guys here.
So now we got Hank in the kitchen. He's looking at the check. Bobby is going through the fridge, and Hank's saying kind of to himself, he's like, $3,900. We could get a new roof just for the heck of it. Dale comes in. Again, somebody just walking through the sliding glass doors. And he goes, you eliminated Dale, or Bill.
Bill Eliminator.
Bill Eliminator. He goes, what? He goes, the Army shut down the sergeant barbers. Now Bill has no purpose in the Army either. Jesus, Dale, that's a rough one. He has no purpose in the barber in the Army either.
What kind of a friend are you, Dale?
He's not.
Jack Wagon.
Hank says, oh, no, is Bill all right? He goes, I didn't ask. I came straight here so I could see your face when you found out what you did. He looks down at the award that's sitting on the table, and he goes, is that real crystal? He goes, hey, look, you can make a prism. He holds it up, and you see Hank's face all weird in it. Yeah. Now we're at Bill's house, and Bill is over there. He's just kind of going through the motions. He's cutting his bushes like you would somebody's hair. Like he's gathering the little pieces through his fingers, and he's cutting it with scissors and stuff. Hank walks up with a beer, and he goes, maybe you want to take a little off around the ears. I'm sorry, that's not funny. Bill says, oh, don't worry about me, Hank. The Army made me a barber. It's theirs to take away. Hank's like, Bill, you are an artist. You do things with hair that I've only seen other people do with wood.
That's one of my favorite lines right there.
Have you ever thought about going out on your own? Bill's like, oh, God, no. Then I'd just be a barber. I wouldn't be cutting hair for my country. No, I'll just punch the clock till I'm ordered not to. It's rough.
Yeah, that is rough.
Yeah, the next thing we see is Bill is at a college fair, a college job fair, trying to pimp the Army to these kids.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
They did that to me when I was in, because I did JROTC in high school.
Sure.
So they really hit us really hard. So as one of the requirements was our junior and senior year, we had to take the ASVAB. We took it junior year and then senior year.
Sure.
And, if you score good on it, they just bug the crap out of you.
Oh, yeah.
But the commander had told me, he goes, if you have no intention to go to the military, just go get you a free meal. And sit down and just let them tell you whatever, and you can get you a free good meal from wherever you want in town. So that's what I did. I was like, yeah, take me to this. It was a what was that? It was a steakhouse. I can't remember which steakhouse I had him take me to now, but I was like, yeah, let me go to a steak. Let's go to the steakhouse. So he sat there and bought me a $30 steak and talked to me about the Army, and that was the end of it.
Insanity. So he's talking to these kids that are coming up to his table, and he says, 9 a.m. is overstating it, really. Most days things don't get rolling until 10:30. And then these other two kids come walking up, and they're getting through his swag.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like they've always got this swag they're giving away. And he goes, hey, didn't I already give you a pen? And the kid's like, yeah, you already gave me a pen. What are you going to do about it? And Bill just is like, I can't leave my booth. And then he marks down. Now, he marks down on this page, like I guess he's supposed to keep track of how many kids he talks to.
Yeah.
But it has the number 2, and then he's crossed through it, and there's a 3. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
it ought to be the other way around.
Yeah, the other way around.
But whatever. Okay, so now we're at the Hill House in the kitchen. Hank and Peggy. Hank says, I'm out of the Strickland Christmas card. Peggy's like, because of your hair? But Christmas is 8 months away. He goes, well, Mr. Strickland wanted an elf in the picture, and the Arlen midget spends his winters in Florida. He goes, damn it. Customers will think I don't wish him a Merry Christmas. Hector wouldn't wear the antlers 5 years ago, and his sales have never recovered. Peggy's like, wow, you're taking this even harder than poor Bill. He goes, you saw Bill? She says, over at the high school job fair, he was wiping eggs off his Jeep. Gee whiz.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, and Dale has something he wants to tell you. Okay, they're auctioning off Bill's old barber equipment today, and he's absolutely heartbroken, and, it's all your fault. Try and look surprised. God, she's a turd.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I never, until we started this show and we really started reading into these things, I never realized how big a turd she is. All right, so we're back at Fort Blanda. It's dark. We're in the chow hall. I'm assuming it's first thing in the morning. Captain comes in through the door, and he says, that's the last time I go off base for a haircut. And by the way, he's got bangs now.
Yep,
also.
now he's got bangs.
Yeah. He's like, okay, so who here knows how to cut hair? And one soldier looks at the other and goes, don't answer, it's a trick. Now we're at the Fort Blanda public auction, which I didn't know they had these, but great. There's
there's websites where you can go buy old surplus military vehicles, filing cabinets.
Is that where the McLennan County Sheriff's Office gets
they
a
have
Humvee?
one too.
Yeah.
Actually, they don't. That's actually where they get their Humvees and stuff from. Is a military program. It's not surplus. It's
nuts.
never before been used. So they get brand new military equipment.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
So there's a banner up and there's a stage underneath it. And there's a podium and all this stuff because they're going to have this auction. And sitting in the audience is Hank and Dale, and he's talking to Dale, and he goes, "Here's the plan. We have to get as much as we can for $3,900, less than $900 for the haircut and the 10% auction fee." And he asked Dale for some reason. He goes, "What's that come out to?" Dale's like, "Say it again." and then he says, "Look over there," and you see this guy who can only be described as like a mafia underling. So, like, his shirt is unbuttoned down to his navel. He's got a bunch of gold chains. He's bald, but he's a little pudgy. Looks like
what are you talking about?
Yes, exactly.
I'm walking here.
He goes, he sees that guy, and he goes, "That's Cole Kitten, the kingpin of the Army surplus auction world." And then the auctioneer starts as those guys come in behind him and sit. First item, number 4801, Army barber chair, originally $80,000. I'm going to start the bidding at $2. I want to go to this auction. The guy Kitten from behind him, he raises his paddle, which is number 14, and says $3. Hank raises his, which is number 35, and he goes $4. The Kitten guy goes, "Oh," because he's got somebody. Obviously, he's used to buying this stuff for little and nothing, and then flipping it.
Yeah.
Dale says, "Watch me take this guy out. $5." The guy goes $6. I mean, that's you didn't do much there. Much later, we see Dale still standing up with the 35 paddle, and he goes $2,999. And then the Kitten guy goes $3,000. And Dale's just like, "Geek." That's it. So he gave it his best shot, I guess. Now we see the Army recruiting office. That's where Bill is at now. The office hours there are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Bill's talking to a kid that he wants to get into the Army. Kid's got his feet propped up on the desk, and he goes, "Listen, I'll be honest. If I get $20, I sign you up. I'll give you half of it." And then the officer rolls in, and he goes, "Dotrieve, in now!" And he runs out, jumps into the Humvee with him. They take Bill back to Fort Blanda, and they come in through a door, and you see a bunch of arcade machines. Right?
Yep.
He goes, "Dotrieve, your records have been doctored to show you are a master electrician with security clearance for pinball repair, but your actual mission is to stand at this privately donated chair which does not exist. Do you understand me? And do the only thing you're good at." He opens the curtains, and Hank's standing there with the chair. Bill obviously is a little verklempt at this, kind of choking back the tears. He goes, but sir, what if somebody sees me?" Captain says, "Don't ask, don't tell. That policy's got to work for something." Which I think is a fantastic joke.
Oh, yeah, that's a great joke.
He goes to the chair, and he's talking to Hank, and he goes, "I'm going to need my combs in the jar." Hank literally hands him the combs in the jar. He's got everything ready for him. He goes, "Hank, I don't know how to." And Hank says, "There's no time. The Strickland Christmas card shoots are in an hour." He goes, but I haven't cut hair in a week." And Captain goes, "Commence to cutting." And he goes, "Yes, sir." And he just starts cutting his hair. Next thing we get is, they close the curtains, and you can see that there's Army officers there watching them, to kind of watch over it. Next thing we get, we're at the Strickland Christmas card shoot, and you got Buck, Joe Jack, some other lady, Enrique, and then you have a little person dressed as an elf, smoking a cigarette on the back of a propane tank reindeer. Hank comes sliding in. And Buck's like, "All right, let's take this thing." Hank comes in, and they finally take the Christmas card, and then you see a copy of the card on the screen, and we roll the credits.
Yep, that's
Bill
it.
used his only ability to make a true impact in not only Hank's life, but in the life of all the Army guys.
The lives of the Army guys. That officer probably been on that base for a long time, and that's a guy who just used to getting his haircut from. And
absolutely.
He liked a crispy cut.
Well, again, 20,000 references, right?
Yeah.
We get the credits. After the credits, we hear Hank say, "Oh God, I need a hairnet." And that is it, man. That is season 4, episode 19, Hank's Bad Hair Day.
Yep.
So you want to tell them where they can find us if they want any more of this nonsense?
You can't find us on the Guantanamo Bay because that's not where we're at. But you
Pirate
can find us.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Not Guantanamo Bay.
Well, that's. I was just looking through Artie's facts. I'd skipped one, and he was saying that Guantanamo Bay wouldn't be a commonly known military base after 9/11,
well,
but
true.
it had
That's
been
true.
a naval base for. They permanently leased that area of land since 1903.
Really? Wow.
A particular chunk of land.
Huh.
But you can find us on over at bwaaaakoth.com, or you could go find us at patreon.com/bwaaaakoth and go support us. Throw a couple dollars on there, keep lights on for us, and keep this going so we keep giving you guys content.
There's one level at Patreon, and it's just for support. And if you are a supporter, we will shout your name out very, very soon. We really appreciate all y'all's help. And again, like you said, help us keep the lights on, help us keep the shooters at bay. And keep doing this thing. Next week, Propaniacs.
It'll be a fun one.
Hey, and something, since we talked Mojo Nixon, I want to bring up something real quick that we don't mention very often. Flame Trick Subs, wonderful band. They provided the music for this with their Deep in the Heart of Texas song, and I want to thank them. If you get a chance, please check out Flame Trick Subs. I've known those guys I've known Mike, the singer, for probably 30 years. But they are still out there touring and doing a hell of a job. So if you ever go see them, just stand in the crowd and shout "Running Bear" until they play that song. He hates it. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. Jordan, here's your smushmallow.
This is that smushmallow.
And we will see you again next week for Propaniacs.
Wimatanye.
Wimatanye, indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network